Hi, everyone. I'm Kelly Turner with Total Mortgage.
And I'm Sanam Solati, Yurczyk with New England Prestige Realty.
And what are we here to talk about today?
The long debated question of whether somebody should rent or buy a home.
We get that question. I would say the vast majority of first-time home buyers, when they come to get qualified, well, I don't know. Should I rent? Should I buy? I've been renting for a long time, which is comfortable.
Yes.
I'm not sure that I'm ready to buy.
Yeah. And how do I know when I'm ready? Like, how do you know when it's the right time?
Well, and I think that's, one of the big questions, especially currently with, people are reading things on Market Watch and the news and, interest rates and home prices and housing bubble and all these kind of buzzwords. And it's scaring people a little bit. Should I be purchasing right now?
Yeah, no, it can be a little intimidating. We were actually just chatting earlier because there are some gurus out there in the real estate world that are dissuading people from buying their first home.
Especially single family homes.
Yeah, not the multifamily homes, because those are clearly for investment purposes. And, it's the debate, is it an asset or is it a liability? And, there's so many variables, right? You all need a roof over your head. We all need a roof over our head. And so you just calculate the numbers and see what makes most sense.
Exactly. Well, and I think that's the thing too, is we were talking earlier, and I often talk with buyers about it, that the market, interest rates, home prices, none of that has any impact on your housing needs.
No.
You have needs, whether it's your job is moving, you have a family, you need extra bedrooms, you need a backyard, you need to move to a new town, whatever that might be. Those are your needs no matter what.
Yeah.
And it's your job to figure out what makes the most sense for you with all of the variables. It's the old school pro and con list. Here's the pros and here's the cons and what works for you. And I think that's what having trusted advisors to work with you, it's what it really does for you, is it allows you to really get some like real life data and facts on what makes the most sense for you. But what's happening in the market doesn't mean that you haven't just had another kid and you've run out of bedrooms.
Absolutely. Now, and when it comes to comparing, like, you want to compare apples to apples. So if X amount of dollars is getting you this type of rental, and that can equate to a home that you can actually own, that's almost at the same level of where you're at, or possibly even better, why wouldn't you want to make that move?
Exactly. And I think people don't. It's scary, right? When you rent, somebody else takes care of the broken refrigerator, somebody else plows, potentially plows your driveway. So
not always.
It's easier. But the flip side to it is, if you need to make alterations to your living space, you can't do it. If you want to upgrade something, it does not make sense to upgrade in a rental situation.
So exactly. I've had clients who have moved into beautiful rentals and the kitchens were outdated or the lighting was horrific. And they have taken their own money and improved upon the property, not getting any reimbursement back from the landlord.
And people assume they will a lot. Like, oh, well, I'll just talk to the landlord about it.
And
landlord's like,
no, but at least they got enjoyment out of it. And my argument with that is, why not do that to your own home? Invest those thousands of dollars in your own kitchen and then you build on your own equity.
Absolutely. I see that a lot with borrowers as well, that they've over improved a rental and it's not for your benefit. It's for somebody else's. And I think the other thing too, is you sort of hit the nail on the head, is kind of balancing the numbers. That's something that, as the lender, that I often see, is I will get people who will apply and they're renting, a really nice 2-bedroom apartment for $2,200 a month. And they think they can't afford to buy a home. I'm like, do you know what kind of home I could get you into for $2,200 a month? Like a really nice house in a really nice town in a really nice area. And wouldn't that be more preferable? And a lot of times people are really shocked with what they can afford based on what they've been renting. And the rental market's tough right now.
Right now, the rental market has skyrocketed. And I'm seeing landlords asking for 2 months of security, not just 1 month of security, because they're also hedging, like they're protecting themselves for what might happen in the future with, tenants possibly defaulting. So, at $2,200 a month, if you're paying 2 months security, plus for first month's rent, that's $6,600. Like, compare that to a down payment.
Yeah. Well, and the other piece of that too is we've seen a lot of rentals that require you to make 3 times the monthly rent amount in income. So again, $2,000 a month times 3, you got to make $6,000 a month to rent a $2,000 a month apartment. That's generally not the same equation for a mortgage. So we use a debt to income ratio, and you don't have to make 3 times the mortgage payment in order to qualify.
Which is surprising for so many people.
Yeah. So it can be a lot more affordable. The other thing that I really love about home ownership, which is, I think that this is coming home to roost for people more than ever before, is that a housing payment is a stable payment. Yeah. So if you have a 30-year fixed rate mortgage, your mortgage payment, with the exception of taxes and insurance, which may vary from year to year. I don't want to tell you it goes up, because it doesn't always.
Sometimes they go down.
Sometimes they go down. That's the only variable piece to your mortgage payment. So your mortgage payment is not going to change exponentially from year to year. But there are people in rental situations at the moment who are getting rental renewals at $200 more a month, $300 more a month. I have a borrower who actually just got into a home because their rental renewal went up for $582 extra a month they were paying.
What about the ones where the landlords decide they're not renewing the rent?
Yeah.
Things have changed.
Now what? Now you're scrambling with 30 days notice to find something new. When it's your own home, that stability can be a really big thing for people, especially, again, if you maybe have small children, or, you have to live in a certain, maybe more rural part of the state where there might be less apartments. What happens? Yeah. What happens when your landlord says, get out of here?
Yeah, no, that's a scary wake up call. I think, a lot of renters, like moving into home ownership, one of their fears are, again, the maintenance of it, and then deferred maintenance costs, like having to put in a new roof or this and that. And, a lot of people don't realize this, but there are supplemental insurance policies available that cover so many things that homeowners insurance just doesn't cover. If something goes wrong with your appliances, most of that is taken care of through these supplemental insurance policies. So as new homeowners, that's something that you can explore to help kind of just give you peace of mind. Because really all it is, it's that peace of mind that people are looking for.
Absolutely. Yeah. They just want to know, and people always hear the worst case scenario situations, because those are the ones that people talk about. You don't hear about all of your friends who, bought new homes and everything was fine, because that's really the vast majority of people. They don't have catastrophic appliance failures or anything like that. They're just living in their home. And do you find stuff out as you live in a home?
Of course.
Oh, I've got a wonky cabinet door. That's just all pretty easy to fix.
But absolutely.
I think I agree.
Everything's on YouTube.
Yeah, right. Everything. I was Googling how to change a headlight in my car the other day on YouTube. I'm like, I got a whole video how to do it. Everything's on YouTube. But yeah, I think a lot of the fears that people have, if they were to just sit and talk to professionals, a lot of them could be alleviated in just kind of getting like the real facts. What does this situation look like? How can I mitigate it? So, you're talking about supplemental insurance, home warranties, or as part of the process in purchasing your home, you can sometimes negotiate items with the seller. Like, hey, we know this dishwasher is at the very end of its life. Could we negotiate a new dishwasher? It is a little tougher in the market right now, but it still does happen.
Things happen.
I think the next question is, right, how do you know you're ready? How does a borrower determine that? They have to be ready.
It's an intrinsic thing. They have to be ready. And then obviously they have to have their financial plan scheduled. And sometimes we'll meet with clients a year or 2 years in advance before they're even ready to get, onto the path of home ownership. But I know after we send people and they talk to you, sometimes they're cleaning up their credit. Sometimes they just need to save a little bit more. We help guide them so that a year from now, 2 years from now, whenever it is that they're ready, we can help them, because really renting is great as a short-term solution. It shouldn't be a long-term solution.
Yeah, I would agree. And I think, people a lot of times ask me, like, what is the best time to get started in the home buying process? How long, should I how long in advance should I contact a professional? And I generally say, for a first-time home buyer, you really should be in contact with a realtor and a lender about 6 months before you want to be moving into that house at a minimum. A year is great. We would love a year. That would be amazing. But at least 6 months before, because that allows us to make sure that everything lines up. Our credit's in the right place. There's nothing erroneous on our credit reports. You would be shocked how often we see that. So I will pull people's credit who say, oh, I look on Credit Karma and I've got a 750. Well, Credit Karma is not the same as FICO. So we pull a different report. All lenders pull FICO reports, and we go back 7 years. So we'll sometimes see old stuff that they didn't know was still reporting. We will see straight up erroneous material. Like, I've never had this mortgage. I've never had this credit card. I had a borrower not that long ago who was a junior, and a whole bunch of dad's items who was senior was reporting on his credit erroneously. He doesn't really know when it happened or how it happened, but it was absolutely impacting his financial abilities, and he never even knew. But giving a little bit of a runway, again, 6 months to a year, for us to just take a look and say, either this looks great, and sometimes a borrower says to me, I want to buy in 6 months. They apply, we run everything, and I go, you can start right now.
Yeah.
And I also have borrowers that come to me, I got to move out of my living situation tomorrow. My landlord is selling. I have 30 days. And then I look at their stuff and say, you're about 6 months to a year out from being ready to purchase. We have to clean up these credit items. We need to save more money, whatever it might be. So giving yourself plenty of runway, I think, is really important. And the other piece of that is, especially for young adults, it is never too early to talk to a lending professional, because say you want to buy in 5 years, I really encourage people, come on in, let's sit down, let's come up with a 5-year plan.
Yeah.
Let's come up with a 5-year plan, because then when you're ready, we're like, God bless, go do your thing. You have the blessing of everybody to be prepared.
And the reason that's so important, we'll get borrowers or buyers that want to come in and they think that, okay, before talking to a qualified professional such as yourself, I'm just going to clean up my credit. I'm just going to pay off this credit card and close it. And, you
see the fear in my face when you say that. Don't do it.
But to somebody who is not talking to a professional, that sounds like a logical thing to do. Yeah. It can be detrimental in basically moving where you want to go. Your credit, it could impact your credit. And I don't do all the behind the scenes stuff. I don't, go behind the curtains with finances, but I tell my clients, don't change anything financially. Don't open any credit cards. Don't close any credit cards. Don't make any purchases. Talk to Kelly. Talk to somebody who's going to guide you, because what you think might be a smart idea that, is going to set you up financially could actually set you back.
You hit the nail on the head right there, because that's one of the biggest mistakes people make, is closing credit cards. One of the large pieces of your credit score is length of accounts being open. So if you have an account that's been open for 10 years and an account that's been open for 1 year, you have a 5-year collective credit history. That 10-year-old card maybe is a lousy card, right? It's got a 26% interest rate. So you're like, I'm going to close this card. Well, you now made your average 1 year. So what does that do to your credit? Your credit report, credit score drops. Same thing with collections and charge-off accounts. A lot of people think I'll just pay these off. Yes. Well, if it's a 6.5-year-old collections account that you then pay off, it had already not really been being factored into your credit score. But when you paid it off, you brought the account active and current again. And now it's dropping your credit score. And we see that sort of stuff a lot. So don't mess with credit on your own. If I can also give one more piece of advice on credit, late night TV, you will see commercials for credit repair agencies. Please do not contact them. Talk to a local professional who can get you in touch with another local professional. A lot of the places you see online, late night TV, that sort of stuff, they're actually really predatory, and they're not going to help your credit. And that will not put you in a better place.
No, there are credit repair companies that are awesome. Legitimate. Kelly works with a really great one here in Connecticut, local. But there are people that will fix your credit temporarily.
Yep.
And then, when you run their credit initially, it might look okay. And then when you go to run their credit again towards the closing, it can shift. And that can completely mess up a whole purchase.
Exactly. I totally agree. But yeah, I think, having conversations with professionals early and often is really the route to go. Yeah. And then, once you kind of come up with a plan of home ownership, you're ready to start making offers and buy that home.
Yeah, absolutely. And I remember back in 2007 and around that time, right before the market went down, everybody was keeping up with the Joneses. It was who's got that McMansion because I need one. Mm-hmm. That is not what homeownership is about.
No.
As Kelly mentioned earlier, it's your personal needs, your personal finances, and nobody else outside of your professionals and you should make that decision.
Absolutely. I agree. But should you rent versus should you own? It really just depends on you, your situation, what your needs are. And we're glad to help you figure it out.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for watching.
Thank you.
We'll see you soon.
Bye.